here's the process, okay? I'm going to turn your original 2 into the blank face layer, just to show you maybe 2 of the shapes, okay? So I'm going to take the lasso, the L key, and I'm going to get rid of the shapes. Then I'll just use this original copy to make the parts from. Okay, so watch. I'm going to take and lasso about 1/2 inch around this eyebrow, making sure to kind of just get it all. Okay, all right. Now, make sure I'm on that layer, which I am. So I'm going to, each time, I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, which is Shift F5, okay, with Content Aware, and say, okay, now that'll take that away, and that's good enough, okay? Now, let's do the other one. So let's go to this eyebrow. It's not going to do it perfect on the edge, but it's okay. So let's go to this eyebrow, and now take it away. Now, Shift F5, Content Aware, boom. Okay, that's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, all right? Now, let's surround the whole eye. Okay, so surround this whole eye, just like I did, just like that. Shift F5, return key. Okay, now let's do this one. Let's get some of that upper area, just like this, and let's take away all the eyes. So again, make sure I'm on that layer, right, the blank layer. Shift F5, take that away. Notice how I'm giving it enough room to make sense here. Okay, so I'm going to now take the nose away, and I'm going to try to get real close to the mouth, come around the nose like this. Look at how the lasso got enough of that. If it messes up, I'll use the clone tool, or I'll just paint a little value on it. It doesn't matter. So Shift F5, hit the return key. Now, it did a dumb thing there, so I don't care about the dumb thing. So I'm going to hit the S key for the clone stamp. Look at that. Zoom in for the clone stamp. Right. And I'm going to Alt or Option target. First, let's do the flow. Let's take the flow up to about 50% on the S key clone stamp. Okay, watch this. Now I'll right-hand click and make sure I'm almost all the way soft. That's good enough right there. I'll target this area right here, right there, see, right next to that bad part, and I'm just going to click and take that stuff away. Now, the reason why I got this little part there is because Brian didn't see something, so I'm going to Command Z back until it's back to normal. Make sure aligned is off. Can you do that for me? Make sure in this upper options aligned is off. Now, I'll resample that area, and I'll just click there. Now, you see how I got rid of that, and that's good. Now, let's take the mouth away, okay? I can even fix a couple things like this. Watch. I can take this one, I'll Option click or Alt click right here, and I'll just minimize this. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to get rid of the parts, okay? Honestly, it doesn't have to be gorgeous, okay? It just has to get rid of some of those parts. Now, let's take the mouth away. So let's take the lasso and let's go around the whole mouth and see how well Photoshop can understand what it is I want it to do. Okay, so now I've got the mouth taken away. Shift F5 and return key. Okay, now I need to go take something out of the oven, so I'm going to pause this for a second. Whoops, I did a bad thing there. Sorry. Let me go over to here and pause this for a second. Okay, and my cookies look good, by the way. So I'm also going to take out these laugh lines, and then I'm going to use the original copy to get new laugh lines, okay? Because I think the laugh lines are really important to her whole look. So let's just surround this laugh line right here, because I think we're going to be moving it. Now remember, it's Shift F5 and return key. Okay, now let's do the other one. And then we're almost ready to like pursue the rest of this, okay? And this isn't going to look great, but it's going to look okay. Don't worry that it doesn't look good. But do you notice how I always give it about 1/4 inch around? Okay, Shift F5. And there you go. Okay, that was actually perfect. So I'm going to save your file. I'll save it. I'll save as, just so I don't mess it up. And I'm just going to say that this is number 2 for Mr. Sorio. Okay, now, once I've done that, I'm going to turn off the blank face. Now I'm going to click to the original copy and click to it. Turn it on and click to it. Now, you did your eyes perfectly. See how you gave the eye a big area around? I wish you had given that, and we can, a big area just like the eyebrow. You came too close to the eyebrow. So here is the technique. You control click on the selection, make sure you're selected on that layer, right? On the main layer. I'm even going to name this main so you know that that's what we're getting it from, okay? Now, I'm going to hit Control J or Command J. Now look, I'm going to turn off everything. We have an eye, right? So I'm going to call this, you called it, well, this is actually her right eye. You can call it anything you want, but I'm going to call it her right eye and move it above blank. Okay, cool. Let's now turn on and click to the main layer. Let's go get her other eye, which you called right eye, which is really her left eye. Let's control click on it, make sure we're selected, and hit Control J. Now I have the left eye. So let's now say left eye. I know this is as you see it, but this is as an animator, I always am accurate as to the part on the person. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. Every single time, notice how I move it above and I click back to the main layer. Now let's get her nose. Now this is a perfect example. You came too close to the nose. We want to do something to soften the edges of everything, and you haven't given me enough room. You did on the eyes, but not on the nose. So what I'm going to do is, I should redraw it a little bit, but all I have to do is hit the P key, hold Control, Alt, and click on this path. So all the points are selected. Now hit Control T, and watch this. If I hold, I don't mean this to sound too much, but if I hold Alt and Shift, it'll get bigger from the center out. Do you see how cool that is? Bigger from the center out. Now, do you see how I've given it about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, more or less? Okay, so now I'm going to hit the return key. The reason is for this reason. This is what I wanted to show you. So now I'm going to control click on it, click to the main layer, hit Control J, name it nose, and then this is going to be an exact example of what it is I want you to see. Now, watch this. Let's turn off all the parts so far. Let's turn on the blank layer. Let's click to the nose, and now do you see how the edges don't work? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, if you want to make her nose smaller, which is what I think I'm going to do, for me, you can do it anything you want. But here is the secret. So now, we got to get rid of these hard edges. And it's real easy to do. So all we have to do is resize this. Now, if you hit Control T, the same thing applies. If you hold Alt, you can actually go from the center out and shrink this nose from the center out. Okay, that's what I want you to do. So you're holding Alt and you're just shrinking it. Okay, now I'm going to hit the return key. Now, how do we fix the edges of the nose? Well, every single time, here's what you do. You make a layer mask, right? You hit your B key for paintbrush. You make it about this big, not too big. Okay, not too big. And you make sure you're painting in black on the layer mask. It's got to be black, because you know black takes away stuff, right? So I'm going to make my brush up here relatively large. And look, I'm painting at 10 on the flow. That's important, Tina. Right hand click to almost all the way soft. Okay, almost all the way soft. Again, 10 on the flow, hardness to about that much, which is 15. And now look, I can soften the edge of this and take it away so it blends into the blank face. Now that's what you're going to do each time. See how simple that is? But the only way I was able to do that is because I gave the nose more room. Now watch, I'm going to make the brush smaller. Now look, I can come in here and slowly soften this. Let me make it a little bit bigger. See how I can take that and soften that horrible part that's right there? Now, I'm going to do the mouth and I'll show you the mouth, even though I never even copied the mouth yet. So do you see how I'm using that larger area that I gave around the nose, or I'll just call it a body part? And do you see how now that blends in perfectly? And I'm going to turn off both faces here. Look at, do you see how I'm softening the edges? Look at how I'm going all the way around like this to soften the edges that are obvious. Okay, so let me even soften this one. Now let me turn on the blank face and show you. Look at how nice that is. Look at how that is the blank face. Now I'm going to put the main face, I'm going to put a copy of it above everything, which is what I want you to do. So let's call it clicky. So let's now make a duplicate. Let's put it above. Let's call it clicky. Now why did I do that? So I can turn it on and see what she was like. Do you get it? What she was like. Now, let's do the mouth. So what do I have to do? Okay, I'm going to use your mouth layer. Path. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Where is your mouth? Where is your mouth? Left eye, right eye, earring, hair, counter, sweater. I could have sworn you had a mouth there. I hope I didn't get rid of it. Gums and teeth, lips. Oh, lips, I see. Okay, I'm just going to take the whole mouth, all right? So I'm going to redo that, and I don't want to use this lips thing, although you can do anything you want. But look, now I have to make a copy of it. I can either use clicky or main. So let me turn off this, which means turn off everything but main. Now let me turn off the nose. So you're constantly going to be turning things off and on. Now I'm going to take the lasso and I'm going to give it a bunch of an area. Look at how horrible I'm cutting this out. Look at, I didn't even have to be that accurate now, did I? So now I've cut out the mouth, or I've gone 1/4 inch around the whole mouth. Okay, if I click on main, I hit Control J. I'm going to move it up above everything except for clicky and call it mouth. Now, let's turn off main. Let's turn on blank. And now I'm going to make the mouth even bigger. Okay, so how do I make it bigger? Well, I click on it. Hit Control T. Just hold Alt. And now I can actually make it bigger from the center. Okay, and it stays put. So now look, I've made a huge mouth. Okay, great. Now let's hit the return key. What does it need? It needs a layer mask. Now for the purposes of getting this done quicker, I'm going to hit the B key for brush. I'm going to put this up to 20% just to get it done quicker, meaning the flow. Now I have to soften these horrible edges. And if you want to see what the horrible edges are, just turn off the blank face. Now let's go around this and soften this. Look at how if I just take my time, if I make a mistake, all I got to do is hit the X key, right? I'll even come back. There's a mistake. Okay, look at how I've gave myself that area that is so drastically needed, because now I'm softening that mouth with that horrible edge that I put on it, right? But I at least gave it that I at least gave it that 1/2 inch all the way around when I cut it out. And that, you did that to the eyebrows. I love how you did that. I don't have to change the eyebrows at all. I'll do one eyebrow. Okay, so let's take this away. I'm even going to come to the top of the mouth here. I should have given this more room. Look, Brian didn't even come up high enough right there. So when I use the lasso, now I'm going to fix that part, and I'm going to fix part of that mouth. So I hit the X key to paint white back. Look at, here's white on the mask to restore the lips. Now look how pretty this is going to be, or weird but nice. So now I turn this back on and you can see what I've done. Here's the nose that I have. Okay, a tiny nose and a big mouth. Poor Julia. Oh my God, I can't believe what I did to her. Now if I turn clicky on, that's what she was. This is what I'm doing to her. Now how come, what I was going to say was, how come it was so easy? Because it is easy. But you have to give and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You have to cut them out and give more room. Now I'm going to right-hand click and disable it for a second. I'm going to right-hand click and disable it for a second on the nose and the mouth. Now I'm going to turn on the blank face. Well, that doesn't look good. You can see all the edges. So you can see how important it was to give it bigger room. Now let's go do one eyebrow. Okay, so how do you do this again? Well, you got to turn off blank, off the nose, off the mouth, turn on the main face, right? Because that's where I get the parts from. Okay, let's go to your eyebrow and I'll right-hand click. I'm sorry. You didn't give me enough room. I'm sorry. I meant you gave me enough. I keep on saying the eyebrow. You didn't give me enough room on the eyebrow. This is what I want to do to that eyebrow. Watch. So I'm going to take the P key, just so you can see again, hold Control-Alt till all the points are solid. Just click on it. Don't drag, just click. Now hit Control-T. Now hold the Alt key and you can go from the center out. And then I'll just reposition it like this. Now I'm even going to hold the Shift key and make it go higher and lower. There. Now, see how big I gave that? See how big I gave that? Now, that's fine. I'll use that. Now, if I make a selection of it, look at, I have all this extra room, which is nice. I wish I had more room here. There is a way. I don't want to freak you out here, but if I hit the L key for lasso, I could hold the Shift key and look, I could actually make a little circle-y thing around the bottom here, and look, now I've made it bigger. Now on the main layer, let's hit Control-J. Let's move it up above the eye. I won't even name it, I'll just call it eyebrow, because I don't remember if it's supposed to be left or right. This is actually her right eyebrow, but you have it labeled as left, which is fine. That's good. That's just me. Okay, so I'll say eyebrow 1. Okay, now let's turn off the main one, turn on the blank face, turn on what we have finished, which is the nose and the mouth. Now in the eyebrow, what do I want to do with it? I don't know yet. But if I add a layer mask to it, I can actually make it bigger or smaller. So I don't know what I want to do with that yet, or I don't know what you want to do with that yet. But let's make it bigger. So if I click to the image, I can hit Control-T. Now if I hold Alt, I can grab a corner and make it bigger. See? Look at how cool that is. Now, see how it gets in the way of her hair? Well, who cares? Right? Who cares? Because I can click to the layer mask, hit the B key, and I can soften this. Whoops, I'm painting in white. Brian has to hit the X key, talking to myself in third person. And look at how I can soften all of this. And if I hadn't given it, Tina, if I hadn't given it that extra room, there would be nothing to soften. Do you follow? Okay, now I've given, look at how quick that was. Now, that's how you do her. Okay, so I'm going to stop the movie and let me know if that was enough.